Hi there, Sandy here. Welcome to another Friday Findings video at my YouTube channel and my blog, keepsakecrafts.net. Ear wires are one of those findings that we can so easily buy at the craft store, but it's also a lot of fun to make decorative ear wires that showcase our own unique style. So isn't it a wonderful thing to be able to go to the jewelry supply section and find ear wires that you can purchase and make into earrings? I use these all the time. But how much more interesting to make your own. Here are just a few examples of quite decorative and interesting ear wires, rather out of the norm, that you can make very easily with just some wire and some of your common jewelry making tools. Now, instead of showing you exactly how to do all of these, I'm just going to give you some ideas. The first step is to practice on inexpensive wire like this craft wire. Now, most of these designs use a fair amount of wire, 6 to 8 inches, so I usually cut an 8-inch piece. I measure it, I make my earrings, and then I measure what's left over. And then if I'm using precious metal wire later on, I can cut the exact right amount. You always want to straighten your wire before using it, so just grip it with some flat nose pliers and run over it a couple times with nylon jaw pliers. And this 6 to 8 inches of wire is enough for 2 ear wires. I like to make them in pairs. So once you've straightened your wire, you just fold it in half. And don't worry if it's not exact. And now you can make your ear wires like you're making one, but you'll be making 2. In fact, you can make a whole bunch and store them together and then not take them apart until you're ready to make a pair of earrings. And then you just start, most of the time they start with a loop, and then you proceed to shaping your earrings. One really helpful tool in making ear wires is a pair of bail making pliers, because you can just tuck your wires right in there. This is a 10mm loop and it's a good size for ear wires. Put your loops in there facing away and then just wrap it around, wrap it all the way over, pop it out, and there you have that really pretty graceful shape. And the style nowadays often is to have this kind of long tail, and it's pretty to have a kind of a flared curve there. So you can use one of the other shapes. Use your wire cutters to trim those off even. And there you go, a pair of ear wires, custom made. And this, of course, is a variation on your classic ear wires. Here's some smaller, daintier, short ones made the same way. These ones were made starting the same way with a loop, but then I use this tool. These are pretty cool. This is an oval mandrel. It's a set that you can get in most beading sections at your craft stores. But once I made my loop, I just formed my wires around one of these oval shapes. Used the pliers to kind of sharpen the point at the top and proceeded as before. These ones I started by making a big loop, and then I used my round nose pliers to make a softly rounded bend. If I wanted a sharper bend, the flat nose pliers would have been good. And these ones were made with eye pins. These are just pretty little eye pins that I picked up with rhinestones. Just started by making a loop and forming them the same way. Here's an interesting pair. In fact, I kept them together. You just make a spiral and then make the part that goes in the ear. And then the way you take them apart is get some flush cutters, and you just want to snip that whole bent over part right off the ends. Make sure you have the flush part facing towards the ear wire. And now they're apart, and I can finish my loop, finish shaping, hammer them. You might notice that just this curve on these is hammered to bow it out a little bit more and emphasize it. On these rectangular ones, everything is hammered except for the part that sits in the ear. You don't want to hammer that part. It makes it thin and sharp, and it could cut through somebody's ear. Also, don't forget to smooth the wire end that goes into the ear using either a cup burr or a file. So if you're interested in the supplies I used in this project, there's a link in the upper right that you can click to go to my accompanying blog post. I have a link to a Pinterest search on ear wires, and you'll see all manner of variations of decorative ear wires, and it really is a fun way to add some pizzazz to your jewelry. So if you're new here and you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do for 3 new video tutorials every week. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Happy creating! Bye-bye.